going to look at the subject of endurance. Let's go to Matthew chapter 16, and we'll begin in verse 24. And Jesus is going to say some things here that are going to imply endurance, though he does not use that word. That word will be used in other scripture, but something is being implied here. So in Matthew chapter 16, beginning in verse 24, then Jesus said to his disciples, "If anyone desires to come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me." So already you can see this is not going to be just a thing of ease, that everything is going to be just peaches and cream, that everything is going to be just a cakewalk. Something is denying yourself, taking up your cross to follow Him. In order to follow Him, that's what you have to do. Verse 25, "For whoever desires to save his life will lose it, but whoever loses his life for my sake will find it." Well, that's definitely talking about something. That's talking about something that is going to be, well, it's going to take endurance. It's going to take perseverance. It's going to take overcoming to be able to do such a thing. Verse 26, "For what profit is it to a man if he gains the whole world and loses his own soul? Or what will a man give in exchange for his soul?" So why is he suddenly bringing that up? Because he's talking about that of taking up your cross. Is it worth it? Yes, it is. Denying yourself, is it worth it? Yes, it is. And also that of being willing to lose your life for the sake of Christ. And that doesn't necessarily mean dying as a martyr, though it could definitely mean that. That doesn't necessarily mean that one will die at the hands of wicked men who are killing you for following Christ. But it does mean that you're not living a life of selfishness. You're not living a life that on your own you would have chosen, but for Christ you have chosen a different path. For Christ you have chosen His path. And in this exchange, you'd rather have an eternity with God than have this world. You'd rather not spend the rest of eternity in hell just in order to have whatever this world may give you. Now verse 27, "For the Son of Man will come in the glory of His Father with His angels, and then He will reward each according to his works." So here is this message concerning judgment. This is why it is a positive thing to follow Him. But we look at the things such as denying yourself, taking up your cross, willing to lose your life for Jesus' sake. All of that will require endurance. Let's go to 2 Timothy chapter 2. 2 Timothy 2. And we will just look at a few verses here. Verse 10, Paul writing this, "Therefore I endure all things for the sake of the elect, that they also may attain the salvation which is in Christ Jesus with eternal glory." And here is Paul speaking about the endurance that he has gone through for the sake of the elect, that of sowing the seed, and that of, like a hard-working farmer, he is one who is trying to help each and every ground to grow. Like someone who is steadily there doing his work, that is what he's been doing. And that there is endurance that's involved in this. Endurance from pressures on the outside. Endurance of dealing with folks on the inside, with your brothers and your sisters on the inside, that you endure all things. You have to deal with the weak. You have to deal with people's mistakes. You have to deal with different personalities and different situations. You just have to do it. And he says he is willing to do that and that he has done that. And then he says in verse 11, this is a faithful saying. For if we died with him, we shall also live with him. If we endure, we shall also reign with him. If we deny him, he also will deny us. Notice those two are put together. All right, well, we can also bring in living as well. We shall also live with him, because he died with us. We have to endure. We have to deny ourselves, not him. All right, to not endure means to deny Christ. To fall away would mean denying Christ. But to endure means that you're being faithful to him. It's not a denial of him. As a matter of fact, it would in fact be another way of confessing him. Confessing faith in him, and it would be confessing by way of action, not just by words. But verse 13, if we are faithless, he remains faithful. He cannot deny himself. So if we're faithless, that doesn't mean he's faithless. He's still faithful. He's still going to hold on. First off, he's going to hold on to the will of the Father. He's going to hold on to the doctrine that he has set. Number two, remaining faithful means mercy is still offered to you. Every bit of grace and every sort of opportunity for you to return. If you're faithless, you can return. He will be faithful. He will always be faithful. And he waits patiently, showing, yes, endurance, forbearance. Now, let's just turn over to verse 3. So we're still 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 3. You therefore must endure hardship as a good soldier of Jesus Christ. Now, he is addressing this directly to Timothy. But we're all supposed to be fighting the good fight. We're all supposed to be a good soldier of Jesus Christ. As being members of his family, we're also members of his army. And no one is set aside as, no, this person doesn't have to do any of that. This person doesn't have to endure, or this person is not going to suffer any kind of hardship whatsoever. That this person is spared, everybody else has to, but this person is spared from all that. I don't know how one would come to that conclusion. I'm sure I have an idea some have at times, but there is no point at which someone could say, I'm immune to all that, or that doesn't apply to me. It does apply to every one of us. Now, let's go to Hebrews chapter 10. Hebrews 10, and we begin in verse 36. Hebrews 10:36. For you have need of endurance, so that after you have done the will of God, you may receive the promise. For yet a little while, and he who is coming will come and will not tarry. Which is precisely what Jesus said he was going to do. Going back to Matthew chapter 16. Matthew chapter 16, he talked about that of judgment. He who is coming will come and not tarry. Now the just shall live by faith, but if anyone draws back, my soul has no pleasure in him. But we are not those who draw back to perdition, but to those who believe to the saving of the soul. Drawing back is the opposite of enduring. Drawing back for whatever reason. And as we are going to see, it doesn't have to be just by way of persecutions. It could be just that of wanting desiring the world again, such as with Demas. Demas has forsaken me, having loved this present world. All right. Demas forsaking Paul means that he has forsaken the work. Being drawn back out into the world means he has fallen away. It means that he draws back. He's not endured. That something has snapped with him. Something has just been bent out of shape, and he is not with Christ anymore. Now, as we have said on numerous occasions, Satan doesn't care how you fail. And he doesn't care what temptations were required to make you fail. He doesn't care. It can come in a wide assortment. Whether it's by pressures, whether it's by fears and stresses, whether it is a desire for the pleasures of this world and for fame and for fortune and for the things that this world has to offer. If it is those things, he doesn't care. Any one of us can fail in a multitude of ways. It's not just one way in which one can draw back. There's more than one way in which one can stop enduring. It is just giving up for whatever reason is drawing back. Now, we'll look at failures first. Let's go to Matthew chapter 13. This is a description of a type of person. Matthew chapter 13. And we begin in verse 20. But he who receives seed on stony places, this is he who hears the word and immediately receives it with joy. So, a person receives the word with joy. Did they reject that word outright? No, they didn't. They received it with joy, which means they obeyed it. And we're going to see in some wording here that obviously they did obey it. Yes, he has no root in himself, but look at this, endures only for a while. That means that person was faithful for a while. Well, how long might that be? Is that 10 minutes? Is that 10 years? Is that 40 years? It doesn't say. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. It doesn't matter if it was 10 minutes or 40 years. It doesn't matter. It's still not enduring to the end. It's not doing the will of Christ and overcoming all the way to the end. Has no root in himself, endures only for a while, for when tribulation or persecution arises because of the word, immediately he stumbles. So it's not that Christianity or following Christ is always a pep rally. It's not always having just happiness, overwhelming happiness, and nothing bad ever happens. Christ is actually promising us the opposite of that. That, there are going to be bad times. And there are going to be things that get in, and Satan wants to get under your skin. Satan wants to irritate you. Satan wants to get you in any way he can. Just prodding and prodding and prodding, trying to find a weakness. and hoping that you break. However he can get you to do it. Now we come to verse 22. And here is someone else that doesn't endure, but for different reasons. Now he who receives seed among the thorns is he who hears the word, and the cares of this world and the deceitfulness of riches choke the word, and he becomes unfruitful. All right, that's someone else who doesn't endure. But it's for, like I said, for different reasons. It's not because of persecutions. It's not looking for greener pastures. This is someone where the cares of this world, the deceitfulness of riches, they fall for it. They fall for it. And if temptations did not work, if temptations were not strong and effective, Satan wouldn't use them. Christ is trying to tell us, trying to forewarn us, to forearm us, and understanding that temptations can be powerful things. Endure, which means if this were a cakewalk, you wouldn't need to endure. If it were like dealing with the mischief of some small child, and it was never worse than that it's easily dismissed, there'd be no need for this message of enduring. But we're dealing with someone that is not a small child, and this is massive mischief. This is from the master of temptation, who has been doing it from the Garden of Eden all the way through time. You think he doesn't know how to tempt us? He does. He knows what breaks people. And I'm going to tell you, you want to irritate him, don't break. And that's the truth. That is the truth. And resist him, and he will flee from you. Now, let's go back to 2 Timothy, if you would. Back to 2 Timothy. And we will go to chapter 4 this time, and looking at verse 3. Once again, we're still discussing failures. For the time will come, so 2 Timothy 4 verse 3, for the time will come when they will not endure sound doctrine, but according to their own desires, because they have itching ears, they will heap for themselves teachers. Now, this is not after the cares being captured by the cares of this world or the deceitfulness of riches. And this isn't necessarily that of bending to persecutions. This is desiring a different doctrine. Not wanting what Christ has given, wanting to alter it, wanting something different, and having these itching ears. It is that of a desire for something else, whatever that happens to be. And Satan doesn't care what that happens to be, as long as it's not the doctrine of Christ. He doesn't care. But here are those that they don't endure. They won't put up with, they won't bear with doctrine. They can't bear with it, and they want something else. They just don't want sound doctrine. They want the feeling of spirituality. They want to have a conscience that doesn't bother them, with the feel of having served Christ without really having to have served Christ. You're serving somebody else, and it's not Him. Now, let's look at successes. So we continue here in chapter 4, and we just go down to verse 7. I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race. I have kept the faith. This is Paul, almost like he's signing off. Like this is the last message of Paul. And he's writing this to Timothy, wanting him to go there. And he is saying these things knowing that his death is approaching, and that he has done everything that he should have done from that point of Acts chapter 9 on his way to Damascus up to this point where he is a prisoner of Rome. He has done what he was supposed to have done, and he has this confidence ready to meet Christ. He's ready. And he says with confidence, and it is not a bragging point, but it is a matter of faith, I've finished the race. I've done it. And I'm coming to the end. Now, let's look at just very quickly in Revelation chapter 2. Revelation chapter 2, with each of the 7 churches of Asia, we have the same word being used. For each one of them, they receive a personalized message. With some, it concerns the problems that they have and they need to correct them. And some of them basically have one problem. Others have multiple problems. And 2 of them really stand pure before Christ. But they too are given a message with the same word that is there. Revelation chapter 2, verse 7, we see the words, to him who overcomes. Verse 11, let him who hears he who has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says to the churches. He who overcomes shall not be hurt by the second death. We come to verse 17, and we see once again, to him who overcomes. And with each one, to those that overcome, there is a reward that is described. And we can just look at, going back to verse 7, I will give to eat from the tree of life, which is in the midst of the paradise of God. Well, that's describing something extraordinary. Will not be hurt by the second death. That's extraordinary. 17, I will give him a white stone, and on the stone a new name written, which no one knows except him who receives it. And that's God giving you a name. He is naming you. And He knows you like no one ever does. Verse 26, and he who overcomes and keeps my works unto the end. That's all put together. That's all put together. That here is this endurance and doing my works unto the end. To him I will give the power over the nations. Then going now to chapter 3 to verse 5. He who overcomes shall be clothed in white garments, and I will not blot his name from the book of life, but I will confess his name before my Father and before his angels. Going from there to verse 12. He who overcomes, I will make him a pillar in the temple of my God, and he shall go out no more. Going down to verse 21, to him who overcomes, I will grant to sit with me on my throne, as I also overcame and sat down with my Father on his throne. One description after another, and all of them are phenomenal. All of them are rewards that no one can give you except Christ. Your Creator is willing to have you with Him on His throne. He's willing to have you there with Him eternally, and have to give you everything. Your name will not be blotted from the book of life, but you will be clothed in white. You will be given every sort of advantage that no one can give you except Christ. And with every one of them is that word overcome. Well, that matches right up with endurance. It means the same thing. That whatever happens, you overcome. When everything seems bad, life itself is just twisted in knots, when your emotions are being played by Satan, when it seems like you have been ignored by everyone, or something's just entirely out of place, and it can be from any kind of direction whatsoever, any kind of worry, any kind of grief, any kind of stress. It is to overcome. It can come by way of nature. It can come by way of people. It can come by way of just raw emotions. In any sort of fashion. But we pick up our cross, we follow Him, and we endure. We live life for Him. His work is greater than I am. Always will be. His work is greater than my time. His work is greater than any interests I might have on the side. His work is greater than all of us put together. And His reward cannot be matched ever. We need to take the time for self-reflection. We need to take the time of, are we being obedient as we should be? It is good to know what to do. That's good. But you need to know why you're doing it. You need to know why. You need to know the Scriptures. You need to know, you need to be able to verify that you are in fact following Christ. Because there have been countless people who believe themselves to be right before God, absolutely convinced they were right before God. And we can look at those just in the first century that Christ approaches. They think they're right, and then they find out from Him they're not. And that would include Saul of Tarsus. We need to look, because we will be judged. And we ask this evening, if you need to respond to the invitation, that you come as we stand and sing.